VERMA, Group Head, Learning and OD, JBM Group. Can we have a huge round of applause for him? Well, our industry leaders and experts, thank you once again for removing time out of your busy schedule and calling upon RITESH Bhardwaj, CHRO in BHC, India. Well, a warm welcome and a good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for joining. Joining them on discussion will be Bhagwat, Kharat, DGM-HR, Unichem Laboratories. Thank you, Mr. Bhagwat, for joining. Next is Ajay Mhaisekar, DGM-L and D Talent Management, IRB Infrastructure Developers. Calling upon Ayush Shankar, Dikshit, AGM-HR and Admin, BEC Chemicals. And of course, last but not the least, someone who will now definitely come on board and handle the entire panel discussion. Our moderator of this panel is Sanjeeb, Lahiri, CHRO, GRP Limited. Well, sir, look very enthusiastic and zestful right now. And of course, I think this is also going to be a very informative discussion right now. And again, I'll call upon everybody who is outside, please don't miss such a productive discussion out here, because I think this is definitely help us, growing more in our workplace in a better place. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Hello? I'm audible, right? Okay. Those of us have had lunch so far, and those are still waiting to have it. I actually had a question. What was the first match in the World Cup? Which teams played the first match in the World Cup? Remember? Sorry? England versus New Zealand. Why was it done? What was the venue? Ahmedabad. What's the capacity of the stadium? 130,000. And what was the audience? What was the audience count in the first match? Any guess? Close to. It was about 36,000. So what the English and the New Zealanders would have felt, I'm actually feeling that now looking at this room. Okay, jokes apart. I know it's a post-lunch session and there's a widespread out there. But guys, the topic that we're going to talk today is about disruptive technologies. Most of us or all of us are people professionals. We are all in HR, almost. Yes, no? Yes? Okay. So L&D comes to us naturally, right? That's what people would want to think. Okay. If I use the term disruptive technologies, what does it mean to you? Some answers? Sorry? Path-breaking technologies. Some examples? Some names? What can be called as a disruptive technology currently? ChatGPT, yes. Anybody else? AI, okay. Awesome. Awesome. So when I asked this question to our very dear but newfound friend ChatGPT, it threw me 5 names. And they in random order are AI ML, okay, VR AR, blockchain. I don't know how big that block of chains are, but whatever. Big data and IoT. Okay. What it means? What are we doing with all these kind of jargons at our workplace? I mean, I'm indeed privileged to be moderating. More than 100 years of wisdom over here. We will go to that, but right now I wanted to share a little context. I came across a report which is called as the Brainier report. Yep, and this got published actually last week. And this talks about exactly the topic that we are going to talk about today. the use of disruptive technologies. It calls it as new age technologies at workplace, and this is a global survey which actually says that the world of L&D is actually seeing 4 trends according to this. Okay, now what it's saying is that the world has adopted AI GI generally or not. So approximately globally, 11% of the organizations, they had surveyed about 800 organizations across the world. So 11% have actually implemented technologies for L&D. 35% are still evaluating. Okay. From there, the 4 trends that they are saying is that one, economy we have no control. However, what the big ticket item that is coming up is about inclusion. So what they're saying that neurodiverse people identifying themselves as LGBTQI, people under the PWD categories are preferring to use tech solutions based on technology rather than human interventions. And that is something I think that all people professionals need to be aware about. The blended learning coming in very, very effectively, and most importantly, and this actually has stayed with me for some time after seeing this report, that learning is no longer a corporate agenda. It is, they've used the term as a headless LMS. However, what they're saying that it is about personalization, right? We are all adults, we are no longer in school. So we may not want to read whatever the first chapter in the book is, we may straight away go to chapter number 5. Therefore, how do we personalize learning? And with that question, I will go to Bhagwat. Bhagwat, there's this saying that technology enables and encourages personalized learning. What are your thoughts?
Thanks, Sanjeeb. So I think, and I'm sure that people must be thinking about what new things will be there. I mean, when we talk about in a general parlance, then a training. So what comes to the mind? We generally say that कल training है, थोड़ा कल डब्बा नहीं दिया तो भी चलेगा, right? Or generally we say that कि कल थोड़ा relax है, कल ज़्यादा pressure नहीं है. Why? Training, right? Now these statements have been a past, and thanks to the technology, and I'll tell you that why it is so. Generally, if we talk about the learning theories, I mean, which are scientific and which tell that why a human learns, it never recommends something which is a classroom. I mean, in a classroom, teaching happens. I can train you. I cannot learn you. I need to learn, right? So there has to be something which is delivering or delivered to me, which I'm learning. And now attach it to the context of, personally contributing to the business. So I'm not collectively contributing to the business. I am individually contributing, and then it's a team effort, and then it's a departmental effort, and then I'm contributing. So even if you take any, learning theory, take a behaviorism, take cognitive learning theory, take a, constructivism or connectivism, all of them talks about the individual. Okay, even if you talk a social learning theory, it talks about a person learning from a social behaviors when he is in the social context. Now, that is the background why technology is speeding up, because it is providing us the platform to facilitate all these ideas. Like if I have 4 people in my department and I say, boss, somebody is lacking in account, somebody is lacking in understanding the balance sheet and all, and have a course. Now there are 3 options. One is classroom and one is the the technology. Now in a classroom, I need to arrange a facilitator, I need to arrange a day, I need to see that when they are available and all. It's a big deal. Now take a technology. The same thing can happen in a technology. Okay, and in a technology you can personalize it, and personalization is possible because it is giving us so many options. I mean, it's not far. I mean, we used to talk in a classroom that क्लास में सिर्फ 30 बच्चे चाहिए, क्यों? 1-to-1 attention. Now, where is that 1-to-1 attention? I mean, क्लास में अगर मेरे पास में 4 लोग आ गए बैलेंस शीट सीखने को, तो एज अ फैसिलिटेटर I'm just delivering. So I'm just teaching. So what I'm basically trying to say is teaching is different from training, is different from learning. And now in this age we are specifically talking about learning, and this learning will happen through technology, because that is the only way at this moment which can go to the depth of understanding what a human psyche is, what that person's behavioral style is for learning. The work model, I need not explain it, but then how he is learning. So why VR is so popular now, that is a personalized thing. Why? Because in my organization, I mean, we had actually modeled around 100 machines for VR. And why that was done? Because and it was attached to AI. Now why? Because in AI, once I am going to the machine, okay, there are two options. One, on the job training, okay, and the second one is a classroom teaching, wherein I'm just telling that this is this part, this is this part, oil is like this, oiling is like this, maintenance is like this. I mean, that won't work. But if I'm giving it through VR, it's a personalized one. Once that person goes and finishes that particular task in some specific time, okay, AI is continuously getting the information. The next time I'm having the information, like what were the different topics he has gone through, okay, what was the competency he was delivering there, or demonstrating there, where is he lacking, okay. And all these I'm talking about from a functional point of view. You may say that person is very good, but boss uska attitude hi kharab hai. Now there comes the behavioral aspect. There also all these things can be understood by the AI, and it can be the reports can tell that what exactly that person needs, where all the competency is lacking. And then the three things, I mean, we have a very good lecture in the morning, attaching the succession planning with the talent management and with the learning. Now all these three things are interconnected. I cannot take out the learning from there, because please try to understand, learning is not a simple thing. Learning, it means that I am making somebody a competent and capable person, so that he delivers some value, even if he's incrementally doing something good, which is adding either to the boosting the morale of the team, or adding some revenues, or adding some sales numbers. All these are indirect benefits of that one. So in my view, the technology more and more, it is going to the personal level, and it is being offered in a way the person wants. The more and more it will give that benefit. The last point which I would like to make it is, not only all these things are happening, the points like adaptive learning interfaces, which are very specific to the person, customized content, quick feedback that where you are lagging, you need not wait for the the mood of the trainer to see that if he is good with you or not bad with you. The halo effect and all those effects, it will not work there, okay. So subjectivity is completely removed, okay. Then 24/7 availability, anytime. I mean, tonight I am free, I am not free during the daytime, so my manager need not find out time. He just say that within 7 days just complete the course and he will do it. Now, all those things are possible just because of the personalized attention being possible by the use of technology in the space of L&D. So, last but not least, I mean, one thing to be told that now we may say that we need to use ChatGPT, we need to use AI, we need to use virtual reality and all. Now, I think that is the means. So do you really need that? Okay, really? Because I may ask a question to ChatGPT, but is it really adding any contribution to my knowledge or competence which are required to deliver my at my workplace? So that we need to see first. So we must always remember that even everything is personalized, but that personalization has to be based on the objectives that are set in the the talent management, performance management. And on the basis of that, we should see that what are the outcomes that we need from this person, where he is lagging, and then only we should go to the means, which are all these technologies. Otherwise, very fancy that you use chat GPT, but for what? I mean, what is it giving to me? I mean, I'll ask 100 questions. Today I was coming by my car and I put it on speaker and I asked 100 questions. Very, very gently that, the lady was answering questions. Yes, sir, I'll answer this again. I'll answer this again. It was so nice. But what I was getting out of it, I mean, is it really helping in my, day-to-day activities that we need to see? And two things: one, manufacturing; second is services. In both the context, the personalization is very different. So we should be mindful of the fact that what exactly we are adopting there, and behavioral and functional. These two things are different. We also need to see that which technologies are apt for behavioral and which are apt for the virtual. Otherwise, if we make the means as the mains, then there is no training program. Then it is like just you come, you sit, you enjoy, and then go. There is no outcome. That's my opinion. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Bhagwat. Do we believe that the disruptive technologies are impacting or affecting L&D as a function? How many of us? We don't believe? Okay, 1, 2. Okay. So on that point, I will go to Ritesh. Ritesh, what do you think?
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Sanjeev. See, first of all, I just tell you that currently the numbers that you have shared and the research paper which you were referring to. So post-COVID until last year, there's a research which has already been published, which clearly indicates there are 89% of the organization who has already some or the other form of LMS system in place. The rest, the 11% which is left out, these are either they are struggling to establish something which they are not able to do it, but definitely the positivity in terms of implementing some form of the LMS is there, right? Second important part here, I just would like to tell you that in last 10 years, if you look at, and leave aside the COVID piece, right? Last 10 years, if you look at it, it's very evident that we are now on a platform economy. Anyone knows about platform economy? Okay, let me, rather than bombarding with all the data and everything, let me ask you certain things. How many of you are using mobile from last 15 years? I think almost everyone, right? In last 15 years, have you realized that the kind of applications without your permission already entered in your mobile phone? And today your life is such that without an application, you are not able to survive, right? Not restricted to any gender. So please don't look left or right, right? It is evident and it's very much applicable to all the genders here and outside also. So hence, if you look at it, the way the application has entered in our life, by default, we have accepted this. You don't have any choice right now, right? If at the same time, if you look at it, these applications, earlier days when you used to buy any instruments, any equipments from shops, definitely the best thing which was thrown out first was the reference document, which is called as a guide, right? Today, I have seen a lot of young kids, they are referring to how this instrument work in a best class fashion, right? That indicates that there is a requirement of the learning system. Of course, in personal life it is happening. I'm not saying about the professional life. I have not touched anything related with the professional life right now. So when we are so much tech savvy today and we are so much in habit of considering jumping on any application that comes in the market and start using it, how come we can say that in our professional life, learning doesn't play an important role? Right? Correct? You all have talked about, and initially when Sanjeev was asking, everybody was prompting something or the other. Chat GPT, somebody said AI, somebody said other forms of the technology. Do you know how many different platforms do we have on the artificial intelligence? And let me tell you guys, I'm not talking anything which is related to IT engineers. I'm talking whatever I said right now is related to the HR. Do we really know which particular platform are being used? Chat GPT बोलते हैं, वो कौन सा platform है? That means we need learning, right? Don't discount yourself. Don't think that you don't know anything. You know a lot of things. You are much smarter than any chat GPT and AI of the world, right? But I am just pushing you to think through that definitely either you yourself being the L&D professional, like one of my friend here, right? We have to take the help of the L&D professionals, because L&D, the profile or the role itself is the enablers. They are basically catalysts, right? In any organization, when you look at it, either it's called as falling under the COE role, or they are called being as the partners in the organization, that they themselves or the entire vertical of L&D plays a very important role in setting up a right learning culture, right? Now, if we have understood and accepted little bit that yes, learning has some important role to play, when I said the platform economy we have, see how in professional life, the organizations which we all or some of you, of course, discount us here, some of you might be interested to join, like Uber, right? The biggest car service provider doesn't own any car. Correct? Yes? No? Secondly, if you look at Facebook, okay? Facebook is one of the company which doesn't design any of their content. Who does it? You. It's not them. They have created a platform and you disrupt it by posting whatever you want. Correct? That's how the platform economy is working today. So in this change, if you name the third company which I have just done some research work, by the time Uber has done a lot of work and has maximum number of market share in terms of the service, BMW is one of the company who are doing some business which we all know worldwide also, which is called traditional business, which is selling of the car, right? That's why you might have seen a lot of BMWs. You might be also using BMW as one of your favorite vehicle. But do you know that BMW started working on something called leasing out of the car, which is called car rental, long time back, even before Uber. And they have started doing the pilot, and that's already got implemented in Europe and US. Do you know that BMW started something called car sharing, which you might be knowing now in India, it's called pool sharing or whatever the applications that is coming now. It's already started long time back by BMW in some of the countries. Do you know from where the BMW came to know about this? Only through the learning platform that they have created. They have a common setup which says we don't want to follow any trend. We should be disruptor. So do as much as research you want to do. You want to fail, you fail fast, but let's do something. And hence they have established this kind of setup in entire organization, and they are doing wonderful. Each vertical is a separate vertical. There is no hindrance, and every vertical has their own set of people. Correct? Last piece I just would like to tell you here, which is very interesting to know, that in the L&D entire learning process which we are trying to set up, you might have heard, you might have experienced, and don't name the company and don't tell if anybody raises your hand also. You might have seen that organization in the values or in the capabilities or on the walls, if you have seen, if you don't differentiate between the values, capabilities, competencies and all the stuff, and no issues, still you can learn, right? You might have seen there are some words which are very common, and I can bet here itself, most of the companies and the professionals who are sitting here, their company must be writing this thing on the wall as part of the values or competencies. The word is innovation, being agile. But as a professional, when you see, and especially the L&D professionals, if they see, they feel really bad because they don't see any new agility in the work type or the work way, right? The different way of working, that is still a strugglesome for most of the organization. In most of the research-based organization, they talk about innovation, but most of the time it's not a research, it's not an innovation. It's basically the third type, which is called the another way of drug delivery system, what we talk about in pharmaceutical, right? So if you want to set up an agile organization, there the learning culture is very important. If you want to set up an innovation culture, you have to have a right learning culture in place, right? And in these all things, that the L&D plays a very important role. And at the same time, when you look at the entire LMS system, which got pumped a lot during the COVID because there was no option, now it's a high time where we can use these platform and increase the learning agility. Do you know how many hours of training per person is good enough in the manufacturing sector? Leaving aside the IT, because IT numbers are very high in terms of learning, because they are disrupting every now and then. So the platforms which we know about. So have you heard about Hadoop, Python, right? These are data analytics platforms, correct? But if you look at how many of you exactly know about Python, how to use the Python? How many of you really know in Excel there's a Power BI? Right? This is how exactly the change is happening. The platforms are being at least placed in front of us. We are supposed to learn, and we all as a HR and L&D professionals, we can help the organization, help our people to set up, to build the right learning culture. Till 2 years back, L&D professionals or the HR professionals were the front flag holders stating about, I want to build the learning culture in this organization. Today you don't have to say. The people will come to you because there is no other option. Either you disrupt or get destructed. There is no second, third option here. Correct? Finally, to at least give you some motivation, because I might have bombarded with a lot of data and information. Have you heard about a term called, Sanjeeb is doing excessive work in that area and he was sharing something I just heard, and that's why I'm using this particular example. Have you heard there's a term called ESG? How many of you know? In this ESG, particularly S piece, if you look at it, it talks about sustainability, right? Sustenance, correct? And this is the first time worldwide, even the UN has given a lot of importance to the HR professionals. Not only that, L&D people have a bigger role to play here. L&D in a different mode, the organizations who are not having any kind of LMS platform, or the organization who have a better platform for imparting the training, in either of the case, this becomes a critical piece. So ESG is now, after this year ending, means 31st March 2024, it becomes compulsion to each and every organization. If we all don't know how and why we are talking about ChatGPT, we have to get back to work and understand what exactly is the organization requirement. And before teaching them, we have to learn ourselves. If we want to retain, if we want to get respected across the business, you know better business than any business leader. And sorry to say this thing, but I'm very proud that I'm being part of the HR. And I can speak in length about the business as good as any of my CEO. You know better. So you can craft, you can design, you can standardize the program that is required for your organization. Today, with all the platforms and the AI, you have an opportunity to design the entire stuff on your own. Right?
Great. Thanks, RITESH. Sunny, what are the trends that you are seeing on this?
So talking about disruptive technology impacting L&D. First of all, we need to understand how we define disruptive technology. This is something which is called as a motherhood statement, which everybody is using today. It is basically something which is forcing you to rethink. Something which is forcing you to change the way you do your business. Taking a cue from what we spoke about in the context of disruptive technology, that's what there was this store called Blockbuster Video Library in US, a very popular brick and mortar video library center, which has got so many stores till one point of time. Now there is only one left, taken away by Netflix. That is disruption. You don't need video library centers now. Similarly for taxis, what Uber has done. Similarly for hotels, what Airbnb is doing. That is what disruptive technology is doing in the name of tech. Smart ways of doing business, and not for the convenience or the betterment of the organization or the institution, but for the end consumer also. There are many examples in the industry where people are using this in the capacity of, let's say, augmented reality to virtual reality to machine learning. LMS, LXP is definitely one example which we all know about. Today, I meet a lot of EdTech partners who say that we are no more an LMS only. We are an LMS plus LXP. We are not just giving you a learning management system, which is originally a content management system. You can't manage learning. You're just managing the content. So it is learning management system with learning experience system. Programming, where you have curated journeys of the programs, looking at the patterns of the learning styles of the person. That's what machine learning is doing in that context. They are just reading the pattern. They are matching the patterns of the user and then curating journeys, offering algorithms, through algorithms, what exactly you should do in capacity of your learning style. So that is the level at which people are playing in the name of tech in L&D. Of course, there are pluses and minuses also, and I agree with what my friend has said, that we should not look at technology and get overwhelmed by technology. At times, I see people try to use technology just for the sake of it, without really knowing you actually need it or not. So there are so many things coming up in the market, and a lot is there in the future also. But at the same time, you have to do a reality check in terms of what is needed for your organization, for your people. Today, if I talk about, let's say you are stuck on a highway and there is a need for you to change the tire of your car, and you don't know how to do it. Will you go and do a course to do it? Or will you read a book to do it? What is the quickest way to learn it? YouTube. So according to the need, you are learning now. Gone are the days when there were no options. Today you have people who are at Gen Z, Gen X, millennials, boomers, you name it. And there is a different way of learning for everyone. So you have to have that sort of platform or ecosystem which provides the learning approaches for every audience. That is the need of the hour. I have seen a lot of companies failing big time or reinventing now in the context of learning and development, in the context of tech upgrading also. There is this online education company called Georgia Tech in US. Now, Georgia Tech, what they do is they have online master's program in computer sciences. And it's a huge hit. Around 300 students enroll every year. And for these students, there are teaching assistants online who are helping them with basic questions, of course, which are nothing but more than FAQs kind of a thing. Now, what they did is they replaced, out of 10 teaching assistants, 9 are actual teaching assistants who are humans, and 1 is a chatbot. After going live and after 6 months, there was a feedback given that chatbot was the best option of teaching assistant in terms of helping the students. But the irony is that for certain questions, even chatbot has got no answer, because whatever you feed in there is what he will talk about. One funny example comes up because a lot of students in these courses were earlier males. Yeah. So when there was a question to a chatbot at that point of time, which was a teaching assistant, that I am becoming a father soon. So the reply was, congratulations. It's a beginning of new life, and congratulations for your fatherhood. God bless, or whatever. And the same question was asked by a female student, that I am pregnant, I am becoming a mother soon. So the chatbot had no answer because it was not being taken in the form of female responses. And the next response from the chatbot was, let's go to the course. So whatever you program the chatbot with, that's how it will throw back. So these are few examples which are in the name of learning and tech which is happening. Uh, BMW, for example, you gave an example of BMW, augmented reality. Now there is something which they're working on which is very interesting. They are using augmented reality on the windscreens of the cars, where the road condition will be decided on your windscreen. Now that is learning. That is technology in manufacturing or automobile industry, where they are using that sort of tech in their windscreen. So while you're driving on the screen, you will come to know the road condition ahead. So which is the big thing? That's how it is impacting that world of automobile also. One last example which I would love to give is of Stanford. Stanford has got an amazing program on virtual reality. What they're doing in that program is they are making a student or person who's going through that course learn empathy through virtual reality. For example, you are actually going through that course, you are wearing an ocular, and now you are experiencing yourself as a homeless. So basically, that one of the program is to understand the life of the homeless so that you can have empathy for them. And that is how you can actually feel it to the core. So there are multiple examples of doing it, and definitely it is impacting learning and development, it is impacting society, it is impacting everything from a perspective of learning.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So great. A lot of examples here. And thanks, guys. Whenever we talk about technology, the one thing that actually comes niggling us in this world of hacking is about safety. So how do we really create the safety net around sharing information and employee information, particularly in terms of skilling? Bhagwat, you want to take it? A very quick answer because we have 15 minutes.
2-3 points on this one, the data storage and safety. And see, when we talk about any technology, so we are basically talking about three things. Okay, the system, process, and data. Okay, so first the system, the process, and data. Now, what actually happens is we first see our data. Okay, then we see the vendor's process, and then we bring in a system, and all is a mess, because we don't know that what they will be providing and not. See, you must be knowing that when the SAP R3 was there, I mean, I'm only naming them because I know that software. So that was a completely customizable software, and likewise, so those type of softwares we can mold anyway. But when it is a SaaS product, okay, so it's a standard process, and they have built it in a way that this is the standard process across organizations. So in that case, that cannot be molded. Once it is received, we cannot say that our process doesn't run in that way. The best way in this type of cases is to see that do a diagnostic and see that all the processes that we cannot change, we can change, and we are surely cannot go for. We need to have an assessment for. Now, once we have all these things and then go for a system, and then we generate a data. In this age when there are a lot of attacks and all, there are a lot of technologies which are coming up which are securing the data. I mean, you must be seeing that in our mobile itself, there are two-factor authorizations and all those things coming up. And in the IT, parallelly, these things are happening, so that when we have a very confidential type of data, and I'm particularly talking about the organizations where specifically the training data. I'm not even talking about HRMS, but training data is important, like pharma sector. Okay, there we need to have the training data stored for years, because we may have audits at any point in time. So in that case, there are lots of possibilities in the softwares to store that data at different places, retrieve that data at any point in time, anywhere in the world. Okay, and again, the safety of the data. I mean, it's not only one server, like earlier it used to have, wherein if there is an attack, then your data is gone. It's a cloud now, so there is a data security, and the cloud is not what it used to be 7-8 years back. Cloud is fully secured now. We completely can trust on that. Now, this is about the data storage, but coming to the upskilling part, which is a part of the L&D. There, the type of technologies which we are bringing in, we should see that how they are contributing. Now, upskilling, as I said in the previous thing, that it may be a behavioral or it may be something with respect to functional also, it may be with respect to the machinery, okay, or it's a support function. Now you need to see that which technology is supporting where. I'll just give an example and I'll finish this discussion. In our organization, the type of data storage and retrieval that we wanted was something which was not provided by one software. Okay, so we were conducting the learning in one software, but that software was only administering the learning processes. It was not giving us enough data or an authorization that the person, suppose somebody asked that if the person was really present or there or not. If he is not there, there may be a problem. So all these type of things we need to avoid, because we are an audit organization being a pharma company. So in this type of setups, uh, we had to integrate three different systems, and different systems integrated in such a way that the geotagging was possible because of the use of biometric machine. Now what happens actually is I am registering for my, suppose there are three systems, okay, so my personal data is in one system, which is the HRMS. From there, the data is coming into the LMS, and there is a training evaluation software. So all these three are connected through API. Now, somewhere like in success factors, we don't have APIs for few products. So there you can use the SFTP and all those connections. Those are completely secured. So the thing which happens is, once you have these data transfers through the integration into the learning, once that person comes into the classroom, he punches in. That punch is recorded in another software which is connected to this one, in one of the three softwares. Okay. Once the person comes in, he sits on the desktop. He completes his training and he goes outside. Okay, that punch is also recorded. What happens is, master data comes from the HRMS. The LMS, which is success factor, it administers the training. It sends the data to the training evaluation. Training evaluations then evaluates whether the punches were there or not, and he is passed in that particular system or not. That particular system is a success factor. Then only the final authorization is given by the third system, which says he is completely passed. Now that means that there is no there is no excuse, there is no point which tells that that he has not done the training, or somebody else was present there, or there was some mischief, I mean, which may happen in one of the cases, but then it's a big problem in audit type of organization. So the point is, if you use the right technology and if you see that how to integrate the systems, you need to go to the vendors and see that who can do that work. You integrate the systems if your functionality is not possible by a particular software, but don't compromise on your process. If you compromise on your process, you will have to take that legacy to the years until the time the software is there. Now we are conducting around 30,000 trainings. We are just 3,000 people organizations, wherein only 2,000 people are working in production. Now 30,000 trainings are happening in a month, but if you ask me now that give me the data that who has been trained and not, all the data is there on my desktop and on my mobile. So first design your process and see that how these technologies, if integrated, do wonders to retrieve the data, save the data, and upskill your employees in the right way.
Bhagwat, I
Thank
think
you.
it's, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'll quickly come to Ayush. Ayush, we spoke about cloud-based learning. So, would you want to share your experiences on that?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Sanjeeb. Greetings and a pleasure to be here. In the post-lunch session, I see a very docile crowd, but a full crowd, a capacity crowd now. Thank you for the fellow speakers to shed light on disruptive technologies. And indeed, I mean, for any disruption to cause any disruption, you need the ground to shake, right? These are groundbreaking technologies which we just spoke about. The LMSs, of course, they've been there for some time. But what is the enabler of these technologies? Of course, the cloud, right? Not the general clouds that we see here very often in the Mumbai skies. But I mean, cloud, of course, the word's been around for a long time. And I believe Bhagwat or RITESH touched upon, how the technology's changed over the years. So
So, speaking from my experience and, given the paucity of time, I'll just keep it pretty short. Given my experience, I believe cloud-based learning is one of the biggest disruptors. Now, I work in an organization that has a corporate office here in Mumbai, and it has 2 manufacturing facilities. One of them has been set up for a long time. Given that I am from a pharma industry, there are a lot of regulations, the US FDAs, the GMPs and whatnots, and the RA is there to, sort it all out. But of course, there needs to be a lot of training that goes into, making our manpower, our people, not just the white collar, but also the blue collar workers to be ready for, the provisions, and I trust me, they are a lot. So, for me to set up a greenfield project 500 kilometers away from the first site, it helps me a lot to have my solution, my learning solution specifically on the cloud. I get a secure system, I get a consistent system that can, help me completely take care of my life cycle, my training life cycle, and it's just a blessing. So in terms of disruptive technologies, I'd say cloud is right up there, literally. Yeah. So that'll be all, Mr. Sanjeev. So please take it forward.
Yep. Now, the other thing that has caught up in a big way, and particularly I think post-COVID, is about micro-learning. We've all heard about the bite sizes and so on and so forth. Ajay, you have done some work on that. Why don't you share with us?
Yeah, greetings to all. Am I audible? Okay. So quickly, 3-4 things. This is not a question. You don't have to answer it. But how many copies of Bhagwat Gita are being sold in India? So there are 2 major publications. One is Gita Press, 16 CR plus, okay, and 30 CR plus by ISKCON. How many Bhagwat Gita Sar? Because Bhagwat Gita is 700 pages book, and Bhagwat Gita Sar is 58 pages. How many are being sold? Any guesses? 20 times more. Now, this is one part. Second part is that look at cricket. Basic things we all know. There is a 5 days test, there is a ODI, and there is a T20. Many times the operation, the business, be it a sales, manufacturing, or the supply chain, they play T20 and L&D plays test. So again, there is not a match. So basically, what is micro-learning? Quickly, my introduction, my name is Ajay Mhaisekar. I'm handling training and development with IRB infrastructure. 6,700 employee company, 6 projects construction, 64 toll plazas, and close to 7,000 employees. Employees 10th pass, who are the toll collector, critical job of 100% toll collection. Okay, no compromise with respect to the ethics. And second important thing, least grievances or the escalation of challenges. So now point is that the micro learning may not, it's absolutely not an optional. So as a L&D person, I would like to suggest that one should have a very concrete L&D plan. So there is a workshop, it has to be face to face, agreed. It has to be 3 days, agreed. 2 interventions a year, agreed. But it could be complemented with such beautiful technologies that we are having at our disposal. And that's how the micro learning comes into picture. I will give a small example, 2-3 quick examples. Initially, we in our organization, just to share with you, I can train you on making road, concrete, how to make a concrete road in 1 minute. So there are 9 layers of road, only 3 layers are important, topmost. So IRB, it absolutely outsource everything, last 3 layers are very important. The thickness, the specification, everything. So what we did, we created a SCOM-based module. You will not believe we made in vernacular language, that is Hindi. And we played that during our induction. Any GET, the graduate engineer or the new joinee, he has to undergo that kind of thing. So my point is that micro-learning is very beautiful. It is complementary. It is not optional to the whatever plan we make face-to-face and so on. Because I will just cover another 15 seconds. So there is a ABAC, there is a POSH, there is a whistleblower, अरे वो standards and poor ने data मांगा है, तो BRSR ने data मांगा है, business responsibility, sustainability responsibility, ESG ने data मांगा है. Okay, so now is it a training program or is it a policy? But I want to make people aware of it. So make these things very easy. so if you look at the duration of the time, we have to do in a very in the manner that the employees can digest it. Quickly, last point, basically on this micro learning, I'll just throw a small question to you. We know Excel. I am certified in Power BI, certified in Tableau, Advanced Excel, so on and so forth. We know VLOOKUP. We are using from ages. There is a similar function like VLOOKUP, that is index and match. Just an example, But index and match is having some advantage over VLOOKUP. Let's not discuss that. So now you conduct a training program 1 day, 2 day, but create nuggets for specific functions. Okay, then do a shadow training. Then you will get more precise training need identification. So one capsule for this function, one capsule for that, based on the function. So to me, micro learning, policies are there, specific technical things are there, project management is there. So creating some small capsules and nuggets, absolutely, trust me, will complement your overall L&D plan. Thank you.
Great. Awesome. Gaurav, would you want to add on to this? Whatever your experiences have been. Would you want to add up to this point on Mac learning, whatever you have done?
No, I think I've already covered in my this thing that what examples are there. So in the interest of time, I would leave it to you.
Okay, great. So we are just done as per the time given to us. I hope everybody would have had some context. People who had joined in between can probably do some learning sharing outside of a coffee. But then any questions for us? Some very quick questions? Okay, I would tend to believe that we have, okay, please.
Can we have a mic pass there? Just a minute. I'll arrange. Can we have the mic pass here? Sir, I'll make it arrange.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. That's so kind of
Sir,
you. Thank you.
my question is, learning basically it's an endless process which starts by birth and it is continuous. Okay. When it's come for the training, especially for our employees, in order to enhance their knowledge, their skill, their vision, and their attitude. So once the training has been given to them, either the technical training, behavioral training, soft skill training, any kind of training. So at the end of the day, how we can use our AI in order to calculate the ROI, that is the return of investment. This is my question.
Great. Anybody else like?
See, we often talk about the ROI of it, right? Now, I always have this question that if you have ROI, okay, we meet the ROI, but what if the person is still not suitable for the job? So either we have not hired the right person who can be developed, okay, or we don't have the right training program. So the base goes to the fact that where is that source of information out of which you have developed that particular training program. So again, we are not talking about training programs now. We are talking about customized trainings or customized way of trainings and learning. So in this age, the AI can help you in getting the information like, how he's, progressing in certain area, how fast he does that, which is the area which is difficult to him, how soon he is doing it, okay, how many hours he has consumed, right? Where all he can, 2-3 attempts are there, but he is not able to develop. All these things can be, told by the AI, but the thing goes, ROI, you cannot, have isolated from the actual competency of that person. Otherwise, then your training will be training and his competence will be competence. His manager will say कि boss अगले साल फिर से भेजता हो ट्रेनिंग को, फिर से भेजेगा ट्रेनिंग को और वो ट्रेनिंग चलते रहेगा, बट एक्चुअल उसमें कोई नहीं आएगा. तो हम जब OKR के बात करते हैं, जस्ट टेक 1 मिनट, हम जब OKR के बात करते हैं तो हम हमेशा ये देखते हैं कि what is the gap, what is the competence gap in that person and how he is matching that one. Now that is where we are going from management by objectives, which was a very broader perspective, to OKR. Okay, objectives and key results. Now easy achieving the key results. If not, where is the gap? Is the gap in the behavior? Is the gap in the instructions? Is the gap in the, the resources provided to him? Is the gap in the culture? Okay, or is the gap in his capability? If it is in the capability, you do the learning and training, and then you bridge that. But what if it is from the other things? You'll never be able to calculate the actual ROI on the basis of that. So ROI is a very, what you call, it's a very ambiguous thing. I mean, you cannot have it very concrete. You need to go by the gaps and how you are bridging that gaps with the limited training.
Great. Thanks. On that note, thank you. It's been an absolute privilege and a pleasure to be moderating this panel. Thank you so much. Thanks,
Can we have a
Angus.
huge round of applause and thank you for such a valuable and knowledgeable session. And I'm sure let us make more effective by implementing our experts' guidance out here. Thank you so much. Can we have each one of you, forward, and can we have a group picture? Everyone, please. I'll request all to be there present at the center stage. Well, thank you. And please be on stage, and I'll request Mr. Chetan Alisa Siria, co-founder and CEO Vega HR, to please come forward and felicitate our panel. Can we have a huge round of applause, everybody? And one by one, I'll request Sunny Verma, Group Head, Learning and OD in JBM Group. Please come forward and accept this memento as a token of honor. And thank you so much for joining us and giving time out of your busy schedule. Next, I'll call upon RITESH Bhardwaj, CHRO, NBHC India, to please come forward and accept the token of memento. Thank you so much for joining. I'll call upon Bhagwat, Kharat, DGM-HR, Unichem, Laboratories. Can we have a huge round of applause? Thank you so much for your valuable inputs for today, for the panel discussions. Calling upon Ajay, Mhaisekar, DGM and L&D Talent Management, IRB Infrastructure Developers. Well, thank you once again. Calling upon Ayush Shankar Dikshit, AGM, HR and Admin, BEC Chemicals. Huge round of applause, everyone. Thank you. And last but not the least, our moderator for this panel, who absolutely made sure that this turns into a very productive session, Sanjeeb Lahiri, CHRO, GRP Limited. And thank you so much, sir. I'll ask everyone to please come forward with the mementos for a group picture. That will be a very amazing one for memory. I'll please join us for the group picture, sir. Yeah, Mr. Chetan, I'll request you to be on stage, and everyone with the mementos and the. Thank you so much for joining out of your busy schedule. Well, thank you. Can we have a huge round of applause for our panelists? Thank you so much. And